And we're going to talk now a little bit about the VFO window or the VFO window. In some cases you'll see two of these windows, in other cases you'll see one depending on how the operator has N1MM set up. In this simplistic mode we have one VFO window or VFO window, and this is where you enter your QSO information, call sign, the class, and the section for field A. In this case, person's call sign, class 2A, 2F, etc., and the section CT, EMA, NY, WNY, etc. These are the function keys which generally we won't be using except for perhaps maybe one we'll have to use, or maybe two, but generally it's just going to be the space and the carriage return. These numbers down here indicate the number of QSOs you had, in this case 1, and our current score, 4. And up here in the corner is our frequency band that we're operating at, 160 meter at 1.80516. And finally the two radio buttons, run, which is used for calling CQ, and search and pounce for looking for others out there. And the number 18 is the 18 words per minute. You can make that go up or down for your transmit rate on CW. So now let's go into a little detail on how to use the ESM mode by looking at the VFO window. We're going to switch to the Enter Sends Message mode, is currently off, by pressing the Control M keys, and when we do that we enter the Enter Sends Message mode as indicated in the lower left corner of the VFO window. If we press the radio run button, we enter into the CQ mode where we're going to be calling CQ, and if we press enter, our call sign will be sent. In this case my call sign is KC1SA. This indicator is telling us that we're going to constantly send our call sign every so many seconds, which is set up in the program and can be varied. And then when somebody does respond and we hear them, we can simply start typing in the call sign box. And in this case, W1DX answered us. And now it stops sending our CQ, and we hit enter and it will send our exchange. When it's done sending our exchange, the program automatically goes into the class and waits for the reply from the other party, and we will type in his class and section when we hear it. So we heard his class as 2A and his section as Eastern Mass, so we typed that in pressing spacebar between the fields, and then we hit enter, and it sends our thank you, and we're ready to start sending CQ again by pressing enter. Now let's check out the search and pounce mode. We enter the search and pounce mode much like entering the run mode by just pressing the S&P radio button, and we wait to hear somebody calling CQ. So we heard W1KKF calling CQ, so we're going to type that in and we're going to hit enter. That sends my call sign. W1KKF responded to us with 2 Alpha Charlie Tango. We typed that in pressing spacebar between the class and section, and then we hit enter. Let's assume that we've made a mistake with the log, and this is a snapshot of that window. We have W1DX and W1KKF so far in our log. And let's assume we've made a mistake with W1KKF and it's actually supposed to be W2KF. How do we change this? Well, it's pretty simple. Double click on the W1KKF field and just retype. You can use the cursor key or the mouse and just retype W2KF and enter. And it stores it. Let's assume the exchange was incorrect and it's supposed to be 2F. Double click, backspace, press F, enter. Let's assume the section's incorrect and it's supposed to be Illinois. Double click, backspace, IL, enter. Let's assume W1DX is incorrect and we heard Western Mass instead of Eastern Mass. Double click the EMA, type Western Mass. Oops, I made a mistake. I typed MA. The tool's smart enough to understand that that's not a valid section. Type in Western Mass, enter. Okay, now let's spend some time talking about dupes. So what happens if you do type a dupe in? Does the program beep at you or anything? No, it doesn't. But basically, if you type a dupe in, it doesn't allow you to do anything. So if I type enter like I would normally do, I can't. Nothing happens if I press enter. And that's because it's a dupe. So if you recognize that if you hit enter and your call sign isn't sent, then it must be a dupe. Look up at the screen and you'll see it's a dupe. How do you get rid of the dupe? F12. F12 will erase the screen and put you back into the reset mode on ESM. What if you hear a partial and you don't get the whole call sign? Just hit F12. It'll delete the call sign and reset the screen for you. This is a dupe. I've already worked this person on this band. Just hit F12 to delete it. But I could hit the spacebar and force myself to send the exchange, but that's not the normal mode of operation. If I change bands to, let's say, 80 meters, and I type that same person's call sign back in, the tool is smart enough to know that this is not a dupe, it's a different band, and it will allow me to hit enter and send my call sign to this person.